Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ma Harriet Sit, the first of the year. We got like a crazy computer reach today. You'll notice me reaching this way instead of this way today because something so silly. We got a bell cam. So if you go to gallery view, there's a camera for new bells. We're starting the year with another set of sounds. My birthday's on the 13th, and my mom got me these sound bells, which is such a lovely thing that I've been wanting for years. And so I'm very excited to uh, be here in sound, opening up 2025 with y'all today. If it's your first time here, welcome. Welcome back to everybody else. And I will be gliding through everything today with instructions. So feel free to just sit back, join in to what feels good. Everything we do will be opt in, opt out. So if you need to take a break, leave, come back. I hope you feel the agency to do so. The chat is there for you. I will. Yeah, okay, Cap, I see in the chat. I'm a five placement Capricorn. Too many. There's the intro link again for anybody who missed it, in case you want the resources for later. But everything that we need will just be in the chat or spoken out loud. So there's no need to really go find a bunch of stuff right now. And I usually just open up by sharing a little bit, arriving with everybody, and then we'll move in to a little like cleansing opening where we can take a moment to come into our bodies, to ground a little together. We'll do some mantra work, a spiritual offering, and then we'll close out, share any reflections or intentions at the end if you feel like it. And then we'll go on our ways for our Sunday. So, just to start, I wanted to talk about this idea of New Year, especially in January. I think this first sit of the year being close to New Year's Day, but not quite on it, is really nice timing for like an opening sit. Because in between like the Gregorian New Year and Lunar New Year is just this weird, like little vortex of time. I like the dog days of winter. Like, how there's that for summer, like late August, where you get the like, ugh, it's been summer forever. I'm from California, Southern California. So when it's like September and still 100 degrees, I'm pretty over it. And so being in Chicago now or in any cold place that gets cold, like January is really where you're like, wow, okay, we are in winter still. Like it's still going to stretch on, not even just for a week or two, but for like a couple months. And I like to use that little like tension of time, this time of year every year, to really try and check in with myself and ground into, or perhaps lend myself, listen to the environment around me and like play with this idea of constant renewal, constant rebirth, constant new years, right? And so thinking of, I got asked this question this week, which I guess I get asked, every now and then. It used to be all the time, but not so much anymore. Of being a queer and trans person, somebody asked, "Oh, when did you transition?" And it's such a simple question. It was not harmful to me at all. It wasn't like a triggering. That's not that type of feeling I had. But I thought, wow, so interesting to think, what do you mean? Like when I could tell you so many different times for some sort of transition. Even if you mean medically, there's different time. Like medically, like whatever you mean, there's so many more answers than just one. And I was thinking of that as a great lesson. Like often when I feel so grateful to be at a place in my life where my queerness and transness feels like a bounty of just beautiful reminders and lessons. I am happy to be here and I am just like learning from the expansion. The grief is really in what I feel like when I feel like I'm too late, like, oh, I could have been feeling better this whole time, or I could have worked on it, whatever. But the grief isn't in the queerness or transness. That's expansive and joyous. And so in like a non-binary identity, sometimes, reflecting on my gender these days is really reflecting on how do I fully meet this me arriving in this moment, this me being born right now, fully celebrated, and allow that me to die with this passing moment so that the new me can arrive again and again. How do I not get stuck into some sort of prescribed way of being? And obviously, I'm talking about gender, but like any way of thinking or being, how do we not limit ourselves the second we taste something that feels good? How do we not lock into it and then make it like another cage? How do we keep it expansive, keep it joyful, keep it free? And so today, as we move through practice, I really invite us to start from a place of arrival, just showing up to this space. And also, if it feels good, it doesn't really matter what I want if it doesn't feel good to you. But if it feels good, opening up this intention during this like transition month, whether you just sit with me today or whether you come back for the rest of the month, this idea that new can be slow, new can be many things all at once, new can be deeply filled, sustained, and celebrating of the old, right? It can be more than a box. It can be more than pressure. And it can be more than forced shifts. So, how do we, in this kind of like, wherever we are, in a capitalist environment of like produce, make something tangible, make it big and flashy, have a result, how do we defy that a little? And while we move, notice each step. So the invitation today is just of noticing, which is not a new invitation, but I like to invite you like it's new all the time because it is, right? We're noticing now. Last time it was different. There's different shit going on. It was a different me. And still, so I bring that me here and I merge it with this me and I watch that play out. That's all we're doing, right? That can be the dream or the experimental like land or space we reside in for this setting. Of just seeing what emerges, what's being born, and just coming back to that. And then with that question of care, you know, what do I need? Once I notice, what do I need? May that guide my next step. So we kind of build this relationships of noticing and acting, noticing, responding, right? And we get out of like reactivity loops, slow it down, and just really get to know this moment as like big and little as that can be. Whatever feels good. Don't push ourselves. We've got time. Above all, we've got time. Okay. So we'll start with just a little breath coming into your seat. You might take a deep breath in, let it out slow, and just take a moment to feel the earth rise up to hold you. Whether you're laying down, seated, sink into that cushion, that blanket, that floor, and really feel down beneath it. To know always, wherever we are, there's earth underneath us, supporting us. We might check in with the lower body, the hips and glutes. Do we need to stretch or adjust at all? Is our cushion situation working out for us right now? Does it feel sustainable? Right, notice the skin on the stomach, maybe an opportunity to relax a little on your next out exhale, releasing any clenching in the low back. You might take a second to feel the lungs expand in each direction on the inhales, gently filling the rib cage. And on the exhales, a chance for the torso to soften, the shoulders to drop away from the ears, elbows heavy. Even just for a moment, the hands and fingers untensed, as if floating in water. Noticing the neck and jaw. We might release any tension possible, stretching it all if we need to, or settling into stillness. And we'll bring our awareness up to the forehead, relaxing the space between, above the eyes. Just take a moment to let the whole body arrive. Whatever aches, pains, discomfort arises, no need to force it away or shift it. Simply noticing, making space. With as little judgment as possible, pain can simply be information, an indicator of where we might direct our care. Take one or two more breaths here. And we'll move into our opening mantra, which is in the chat, of Om Ma Harriet Soha. With this mantra, Om, the seed syllable, Ma Harriet, as in Harriet Tubman, our abolitionist lineage elder that we draw from a lot in this class, and Soha or Svaha, if you've heard that in, or Soaka, translated a bunch of different ways, but so be it, like a universal hail, a cry out in the 10 directions. And so when we go through this mantra, we'll kind of be singing it in a 4 repeating pattern just for a few minutes. Feel free to listen, to join in when it feels good. Whatever you do, the invitation is always to do it all the way. Sing all the way, listen all the way, shift all the way. Just show up how you can. And as we chant, the invitation spiritually is to welcome in not just Ma Harriet, but all of our protectors into this space. So you could imagine, your friends and beloveds showing up around you. You could imagine sitting by the lake that feels like an ancestor to you. Whatever feels like home, safety, and resource, we're calling that into our mind, into our heart space, and into this physical space we're like co-creating across the globe today, in order to ask for a little protection, a little help, to recognize the ancestral inside of our voice, and to release a little into that act of chanting. So we'll go through this a few times as an opening, and then we'll move through a kind of deep cleansing as our main meditation today. Turn on the sound. Okay. Take a nice deep breath in and out. Coming back into your seat, noticing, do you need a shift? What do you need? Are you here right now? We chant this mantra together, an act of calling in ancestors and calling up the ancestor within us. Choosing, an act of agency, really, of remembering that we're choosing what we're doing right now. May we choose again and again. Om Maheri Soha. 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 Breathe in and out. We can use chanting, feeling as an act of channeling, even. As an act of bringing the ancestors into our body physically and letting that feeling, the Buddhas, whoever you connect to, show us the parts of us that are completely free already. Or show us the parts of us that need help, that are yearning for freedom, how to hold those parts. And so we'll move into our sound bath kind of vibe. Before we had our 108 rings to close out the year, this one will have a kind of chakra-based cleanse. So everything will be guided. Still feel free to sit, lay, move, do whatever feels fit. But we're going to combine our Nanso no Ho body scan. If you haven't done that with me, Nanso no Ho, or like melted butter soft ointment exercise, is a lineage visualization passed down through Hakuin, through the Zen tradition. And it's just a visualization where we imagine ghee, clarified butter, so like soft, melty butter, like a big lump of it. It starts from our head, it soaks all the way down through the body, and it's a healing substance. And so I'll guide the whole thing, but we'll kind of stop at each chakra point, just giving ourselves a chance to check in, release what can be released, hold what needs to be held, and move on. And then we'll close out with a little song ending, mantra ending. Our songs and mantras kind of blend together. They're kind of the same thing. But we'll close out with that and reflections. So come back to your seat, take a moment. I'll start with just a round of the bells. We'll set up our visualization, and then we'll move through. Again, if you need to take a break, leave, come back, move positions, please. The invitation is deep listening, not to me, but to you. I'm just hoping to open up or share some capacity for your deep listening. My words don't matter so much that I'm saying them. We're exploring what we're feeling, experiencing together. Take a deep breath in and let it out slow. Let the eyes relax, the gaze soften, or even close all the way if that feels safe today. And as we take a few moments to breathe in and out, we might imagine Ma Harriet is sitting next to us. We might imagine any beloved that feels resourced and ready to offer care to us. Any ancestor or being is right next to us. If you have trouble calling up a visualization, I'm right next to you. In their hands is a little, golf ball sized ball of melted ghee, of warm, soft butter. And as you take a few breaths in and out, this butter in their hands starts to gently glow with a soft light. It can glow whatever color, it can be a deep orange or soft pale yellow. You start to smell it a little. It can smell like butter, it can smell like anything. A soft sage, incense. And as we sit here and they just hold this ghee in their hands for a second, we call to our minds, to our heart space, what we need. What do we need to get through this weird transition, to be here for this winter? Whatever we need, whether we have words for it or not, we ask for that from this ancestor, from Ma Harriet, from our beloved. And they simply say yes. I'll help you get there. And so they offer you this medicine, this ball of glowing, warm butter, by placing it atop your head just gently starts to melt. You're not worried about mess or stickiness. It doesn't go anywhere you don't want it to be. If you have hair, it just gently sinks in and coats just the crown of the scalp, bringing our awareness to the crown chakra. We breathe in and out, and we notice this butter gently spreads over the top of the scalp, sinking in through the skin, a little warmth, a little heat. And anywhere it touches, it offers a little space, an opportunity for release. And on our next deep exhale, the butter starts to gently melt, pushing down, kind of filling up the top half of the head, making a little space in between the brows at the third eye chakra. We can imagine it even wrapping around the eyes, letting the eyes relax. The muscles all let go. We can imagine as the butter pushes down, any sort of tension or tightness that can be let go gets pushed with it. Just relaxing. Bringing our awareness into releasing. In the third eye space, we take a few breaths here, allowing the glow, the warmth of the butter to fill the whole head. Return to our breath, breathing in, letting go. Imagining the butter now filling completely the head, allowing the tongue to relax in the mouth even. It starts to melt down, pouring into the throat. There's no sense of, suffocation or choking, just smooth, like bath water being poured over the neck and gently flowing through the veins. We release into the throat chakra. Again, letting go of even 5 seconds ago, just returning each breath. A chance to notice and tend to our needs. top 3 chakras opened, held, cleansed. Anything, unsaid from the past year, anything that feels built up in the head, tense in the mind, we let it go and we let it sink. The butter melts, pushing down into the shoulders, letting the space between the ears and the shoulders grow, the chest relax, the upper back relax. It starts to wrap around and, gently lift the heart, the lungs, floating around the rib cage, our upper torso, our heart space, our heart chakra. It's completely filled with this healing butter, this ancestral offering. And we take a few breaths here, noticing, taking care. Soft, gentle with the heart space. We recognize that healing is an ongoing process. There's no end. Not as in there's no point, but as in there's a continual chance to see myself and say, I know you deserve care. To try and build intimacy with my grief so that I don't run away from it. And so we allow this butter to fill the upper torso, to fill the arms, glowing, soft, light, warm, liquid, pours down into the torso. We really bring our awareness into this solar plexus area. You can even place a hand on the top of the belly if that helps you bring your awareness there. Feel that heat. And we'll take a few breaths in and out, really focusing on relaxing this upper belly, the low back, and letting go of any kind of armoring we have on this kind of tender belly part of us. that chakra and bring our awareness down into like the low belly, the sacral chakra, the sacrum. And so we can keep imagining this butter floating down, filling the body. You can even imagine it like swirling around, coating all the internal organs, offering them whatever sustenance, whatever medicine they need, offering yourself whatever light illumination you need to see what's going on in you. And we relax that skin on the low belly, relax the low back, and take a few breaths here. As the bell rings, imagining that butter really sinking into the whole body, swirling, flowing. Anything from this past year that feels stuck in our guts, that feels like it's giving us a stomach ache, we release, we let it go. We tell our pain, thank you for teaching me. Please, the parts of you that are done teaching me, fade away. May I care for the lessons arriving so that I may be filled with more and more ease. Let me drop down into our final chakra, all the way in the seat, the lower half of the body, the root chakra. So we take a deep breath in and out, imagining this butter, this healing substance has coated our whole body. Whatever that ancestor who's taking care of us pours it like bath water. It soaks into the skin, fills the legs, the glutes, all the way to the toes, until we're like a little glowing butter sculpture, little butter Buddhas carved out of healing medicine. We take a few breaths here, just filling our bodies with light, noticing how we are, what might be released, and what needs to be held with more care. Finally, we bring our awareness into the whole body as one, at rest, in both comfort and discomfort. We bring our whole selves into this year. letting the me of this breath get born again and again. You might imagine that healing light or substance pouring out of the body, draining from the soles of the feet, soaking out into the earth around you, beneath you. And as it drains from top to bottom, just light spaciousness is left behind, a little open container of your body and breath. Just take a second to notice how you feel, without judgment or expectation. Curiosity, play, a willingness to learn, to get intimate. There's a Dogen quote that's enlightenment is intimacy with all things. Can we be intimate with every single part of ourselves? Can that include more than just this body? How do we expand our capacities to show up? And so in closing, we'll do just a few rounds of a little spiritual offering, which will be in the chat. We're singing Hush, Wait, Listen today. We sing a bunch of different spirituals in this course as, ancestral offering and session, as an ancestral offering and receiving act. So discover the voice, outside of just this voice. Get out of worrying how you sound so much. Whatever you do, do it all the way, as I always say. And really, we use the songs as a vehicle of just combining that, in a Buddhist sense, you can describe action as three things. Something you can do with your body, speech, or mind. And so we try to, an integrated act is something that combines all of them, that doesn't leave anything out. And so by singing, you use your body, your speech, your mind, you're using your full body, hopefully, if you stay in your body. You use it as an invitation not to dissociate or float away, but as an invitation to ground into that resonance. I think that's why we love bells so much as humans, because it's an outside resonance that literally reminds us that we're like a vibrating thing. You can feel it near you. Hopefully one day, even you who are far away, we can bing bong some bells together in person so we can vibe out that way. But for now, we'll do our closing of Hush, Wait, Listen. I'll sing it once. It's, again, easy to catch on and sing along with. My roommate's behind the camera. Feel free to sing if you want to, but no pressure. Don't feel like you have to be silent. Okay, take a couple breaths. Come into this closing space. We just got real mellow. And I'm gonna invite just a little warmth if that feels good. Settle into the stillness if that's where you're at. But bring a little bit of like motion into your body. Do a little stretch. Move, bop around a little as we sing. Really put the heat back in. During winter, it's important to notice and actively choose to draw heat into our spirit, our body, our systems, energetically. Hush, wait, listen, listen. Dwell in the song of the breathing, breathing. Dwell in the song of the breathing, breathing. Hush, wait, listen, listen. Hush, wait, listen, listen. Dwell in the song of the breathing, breathing. Dwell in the song of the breathing, breathing. Hush, wait, listen, listen. Hush, wait, listen, listen. Dwell in the song of the breathing, breathing. Dwell in the song of the breathing, breathing. Hush, wait, listen, listen. Hush, wait, listen, listen. Dwell in the song of the breathing, breathing. Dwell in the song of the breathing, breathing. Hush, wait, listen. One last deep breath in. And with a deep sigh, let it all out. Come back to your body, noticing if you need to offer any motion, any water, any heat. And we'll end with just our communal prayers, our last thing, as a dedication of merit, as a grounding in why we do what we are doing. Also in the chat. You can repeat after me if that feels good. May all beings be free. May those suffering experience liberation. May we hold each other together through revolution. May we abolish everything that is not love. May we rebirth a free world. Ashe, Svaha, may it be so. Ashe. End the recording.